What's good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, will break down what's going on with the overall market, something very important you have to watch for. I'm also going to talk about what I do forecast to happen to the market moving forward, and some very important levels to watch for on SPY, Tesla, the QQQ, Nvda, and a couple of other tickers. But before I'm breaking things down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, in just 7 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so looking at the market, you had a very interesting setup on the 5-minute time frame. I think the 5-minute time frame is one of the most important time frames to be looking at. There are also other important time frames, such as the 30 minutes time frame and like the 4-hour. But for now, I'm paying a lot of attention to the 5-minute because we had some very important levels to watch. So first off, when the market opened, okay, during the pre-market, it's very important to remember that we have a bearish divergence forming. And once we had this bearish divergence, it's continuing to play out quite nicely, and the market's finally reacting to it. And then on top of that, we have this large unfilled gap way down here. It's about 455.5, which we are most likely going to fill very soon, in my opinion. Now, to add on to this, we had some confirmation of the break in the very beginning because during the pre-markets, during the last hour and a half or so, we were holding above the 20 EMA, and then we got a break below that. After it broke below that, we had VWAP as our next major support, very close to that like 459 area at the time. It actually broke below it. And after it broke below VWAP, it turned very weak. And I told you guys earlier in the morning, 460 was a very important level. We obviously had tough resistance around 460. We came just short of it, hitting 459.55, so a little bit short of it. And in order for us to have turned bullish, we had to break 460 to get that FOMO into the markets. Instead, we failed to do so. We failed to break 460, and the market came tumbling down as a result of that. Now the market's dumping even harder, and because we failed to break 460, we got a big rejection. Now, I just want to remind you all, before I talk about the market right now, let me just mention that look at the last couple of weeks slash, trading days. The market's been on a very strong uptrend, and this trend is still technically valid. It's just that we don't always go up in a straight line, so getting a healthy pullback is completely normal. Additionally, with all this pumping, there's nothing wrong with the market slowing down a bit. But let me just break down something. On the 5-minute time frame now, we're actually testing our 200 EMA. We're actually starting to break below. It's still looking very weak. Like I just said, 455.5 is where we have that unfilled gap. I do expect us to come down here very soon. Between today and tomorrow's close, we should be all the way down there, if not lower. And the market's due for a very healthy amount of selling. There's nothing wrong with it. It's completely fine. Why is the market selling off? Well, we pumped so much in such a short period of time. And we also broke our 52-week high. When that typically happens, the market does not continue to pump insanely hard. We tend to slow down a bit afterwards before continuing higher later on. We're selling off because there's also some negative news that came out involving Jerome Powell. This actually starts to come out a little bit later about the rate hike. And as the Fed is maintaining its hawkish stance, the market knows about that, and that's why the market's reacting this way. It initially got a pump because of the earnings involving Meta, and not to mention some other positive things from the Fed not forecasting a recession. That helped the market initially, but the market's going to slow down because we're not really strong enough to break 460, and this is completely healthy. As the trend is changing, let me just mention that the market's continuing to make lower highs and lower lows, once again forming this bearish trend. I'm going to be watching for this 456 retest. Below that, below 456.5, we're going to be watching this thing come all the way down to about this 456 support, and the gap fell down to 455. There's plenty of downside coming, so make sure you watch these levels carefully. What is holding the market up right now would be this resistance that is now support around 457, around this area right here. So I'm watching that carefully, but like I said before, I don't really see that holding. I am anticipating downside, and this is having a very big ripple effect on the whole markets. Now, let me also add that going into next week, we have like Apple's earnings. So with Apple's earnings coming, I would anticipate that the market should try to get a rebound by next week, by like Monday or Tuesday. But until that time comes, there's going to be some more selling. So for today and tomorrow, I am anticipating more selling. I think the market's going to look very, a little bit weaker. It's going to be completely healthy, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to be watching this 455 area on SPY to be tested, if not even lower levels than that. And to add on to all of this, let me just mention that Tesla is also looking relatively weak. I told you if you want to turn bullish on Tesla, we have to break 270. If that broke, we had to also hold above 274 for us to turn bullish. We failed to do so on Tesla. Tesla got this big rejection. We had this gap down here. We failed to hold our support at 268, this 268 zone. Then we had 267.5 as the next support. That failed too, and Tesla came tumbling down. Now look at where Tesla's testing, okay? It got a bounce off this 263 area, came right back up to about 267, then came right back down to break below 265, and now it's testing 262.5, which is the major support it had in the past. If that breaks, we're going to be watching 260 on Tesla. Market is still looking weak, so don't forget it's going to drag Tesla down. Apple's following the same trend. Aapl dumping is the reason why SPY started dumping. This was actually leading the way down. We have this unfilled gap on SPY, which is about, not SPY, I'm sorry, Aapl, that's about to get filled. We have a head and shoulders like formation as well. Going to be watching this 194 zone on Aapl. We're most likely going to see more downside. Triple Q is also looking bearish. I told you if you want to turn really bullish, we want to see this thing get above like 385. Since we were above 383, we had a good chance of testing 385. I called that level out in the morning, and I told you we're going to be watching if we could break it or not. We failed to do so, and now we're getting weaker. Huge unfilled gap on the triple Q all the way down to 378. So there's likely going to be more downside coming for it, looking very weak as the market slows down. But one stock that's been outperforming the whole market would be like Nvda. Where's my chart? I think it's up here. Nvda was holding up very nicely today. It's actually in the 470s. Sorry, we're getting very, very close to it. It's looking quite nice. But the thing is, the whole market will slow Nvda down at least temporarily. You can see it right here. It's having somewhat of an effect. It has relative strength, which is great, but just be prepared and watch that 470 support. Below that, you're going to be watching 468 and then 465 below that. So watch these levels very carefully on Nvda. Still holding up nicely, has some strength to it. But don't forget, the market may slow it down just a little bit before we see more upside in the future when we get closer to earnings. All right. Same thing would go for the other, excuse me, sorry guys. Same thing may go for the other stocks out there. For the dollar index, this thing got a really nice pump, which is why the market has been slowing down. The dollar, once again, is looking a little bit more bullish. I was calling this out not too long ago as well, as we had those imbalances to fill. And that's once again helping the market hold up very nicely. For Meta, we got a really nice pump. I said we have to watch 330. If we could break it, we could turn bullish. If we fail to break 330, this thing could slow down. And that's what happened. It failed to break 330. It's now downtrending completely just like the market. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's normal for Meta. But overall, market is looking weaker. So I am anticipating more downside. So that's what I have for this video. I want to get this video out there as fast as possible just so that you guys are prepared for what's about to come. And with that said, please be prepared and do what you have to do, anticipating what's about to happen. I do anticipate downside for the rest of today and then going into tomorrow. So watch your supports very carefully. We're going to be watching this 455.5 area on SPY. Not to mention, if it breaks below that, then we have 454, 453.5, and etc. I don't see those getting tested today, but by tomorrow we could see that. And for now, I am leaning more bearish, just to be clear. All right. So thank you for listening. Have a great day. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Market to the moon, as the long term is still very bright despite this temporary downside we're going to be seeing. And peace out.